Welcome my dear students. I welcome you all to my channel Tech Break and I hope you are learning Python very well. Students, today's lecture is very important from any programming language point of view, not for Python only, because today we are going to learn the conditional statement. We have few statements. We have sequential statements, we have conditional statements also. Sequential means अभी तक हमने जो पढ़ा कि हम एक के बाद एक statement को execute करते हैं. But in the real life also and in programming also we face certain situations when we have to decide on which way we have to go, left or right, right? So that is called the conditional statement. So let's start with this Python if statement. If statement. In the real life also we face these kinds of situations. If statement checks for certain condition. Let's say if I am saying whether it is raining or not, whether it is outside hot or not, or whether you are learning Python or not, right? ठीक है. सो ये हमारे पास कुछ कंडीशंस होती हैं जहाँ पे हमें आंसर यस या नो में देना होता है, ट्रू या फॉल्स में देना होता है. इन कंडीशंस को बोलते हैं हम कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट्स जो बेस्ड ऑन अ कंडीशन होती हैं. सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन द आंसर ऑफ दैट कंडीशन we execute certain statements. So if is a conditional statement that tests a condition and carries out certain instructions if the condition evaluates to true. As I have told you that it checks for certain condition. यहाँ पे मैंने लिखा है if condition. So this is the syntax, right? So it will check for some condition and if the condition is true, it will execute certain statements, right? And if the condition is false, it will stop execution, it will not execute, right? So let us see one example also. He is being asked enter the weight of the luggage, right? Enter the weight of the luggage and whatever value the user will put, that will go into the variable weight. Okay, so now the system will check. Why? Because we have written if here. So the system will check if weight is greater than 30, right? So this is called a conditional statement. This is called if statement. So if is a keyword, if is a keyword और if के बाद हमने वो condition लगा दी है जो हमें check करनी है, right? कॉलन इज द पार्ट ऑफ अ सिंटेक्स जो हमें पाइथन में लगाना होता है. और उसके बाद नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट इज अगर वेट 30 से ज्यादा है, इफ द वेट इज ग्रेटर देन 30, जस्ट प्रिंट हैवी लगेज, ओके, एंड इन द लास्ट प्रिंट थैंक यू, राइट? बट अगर वेट 30 से कम हुआ, so then in that case we have not done anything. That means the condition is false, execution will stop. So we will see if condition with the help of example also. So I am taking very basic example here. I'm just writing enter the value of x, right? This is the very basic example, and in the next line I'm writing so I have taken two variables here. Firstly, in the first statement I have asked the value of x and in next I have asked the value of y. So दोनों की values मैंने user से पूछ ली हैं. इसके बाद I want to use the if statement, right? So for using the if statement, what we will simply write if, right? If is a keyword. Remember, if is a keyword. So if x is greater than y, if x is greater than y, so then what will happen? But don't forget to put the colon here. Next, यहाँ पे हमारे पास कोई भी bracket नहीं आता है और I am using PyCharm. This is the IDLE for using Python. You can use any of the IDLE. So here you can see automatically system ने indentation कर दी है. तो if के बाद if you see there is I have not put it any space, I have not pressed any tab key, but automatically उसने यहाँ पे spaces को leave कर दिया है. So this is called indentation, right? So now I have to write my next statement here, and my next statement is print x is bigger than y, right? X is bigger than y. Now दिस इज अ वेरी सिंपल प्रोग्राम. मैंने एक x की वैल्यू इनपुट की, देन मैंने एक y की वैल्यू इनपुट की, देन आई हैव चेक कि इफ x इज ग्रेटर देन y. अगर ऐसा है, इफ द कंडीशन इज ट्रू, तो जैसा कि मैंने आपको बताया कि नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएगी. सो यहाँ पे प्रिंट हो जाएगा x इज बिगर देन y. अगर मैं यहाँ पे इमीडिएटली एक नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट और लिख दूँ, थैंक यू, right? So in that case, now if has two statements. Now this is called the block of the if. This is called the block of the if. Can you see two cursors here, two pointers here? These are the two pointers. So this is telling me that this is the block of the if, right? Because indentation is there. अगर मैं यहाँ पे इस print को indentation से बाहर कर दूं, so now you can see, now this thank you is not the part of this if statement, right? Now the if statement has only one statement, that is x is bigger than y. तो यहाँ पे आपको indentation का ध्यान रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अब फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट if का पार्ट है एंड थैंक यू वाली स्टेटमेंट if का पार्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि मैंने उसको indentation से बाहर कर दिया है. Now let's execute this. So enter the value of x. Let's say I am writing 50. Enter the value of y. Let's say I am writing 25. So in that case, yes, x is bigger than y and thank you, right? But let's check for the other condition. I am again running this program, and now if I am writing the value of x is 25 and the value of y is 15, now in this case the condition evaluates to false. Now let's see what happened. Program is finished. ठीक है, program execution is finished because we don't have any further condition here, right? To tell one more thing here, अगर आप print को if के block से बाहर ले जाएंगे, ठीक है, and then if you run the program and the condition is false, see, this is very important. Now the condition evaluates to false, and if the condition evaluates to false, the if block will be terminated. तो if block के अंदर जो भी statements हैं वो execute नहीं होंगी as the if block is terminated. तो immediate statement जो if block से बाहर है वो execute होगी, और यहाँ पे immediate statement क्या है, thank you, तो वो execute होगी. तो अगर अब हमारे पास if की वैल्यू ट्रू आए या if की वैल्यू फॉल्स आए, दोनों ही केस में थैंक यू प्रिंट होगा, बिकॉज थैंक यू इज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ if. Now let's see one more variation in this. After if, I am putting else here. So what is the meaning of else here? The condition of if is false. Then rather than stopping, let's come to else. Okay. So हमने पहले print किया था x is bigger than y. Now we want to print that y is bigger than x. I hope this is clear to you now. So now we have both the condition. If the condition is true, then go to if block. If the condition is false, then go to else block. So we have both the condition. And कुछ भी हमारे पास आंसर हो, चाहे if block का आंसर हो, चाहे else block का आंसर हो, print thank you तो always will be there, because इसको हमने किसी भी block में नहीं रखा हुआ. This is just an immediate statement, right? So now let's execute this program once more. So here you can see that else block is evaluated, that is y is bigger than x, and thank you will be always there. Okay? So we have seen two statements. We have seen if and we have seen if with else also. So We have seen this if, we have seen this if with an else statement also. So this form of if statement is used to carries out certain instructions if the condition evaluates to false in the if block. That is what we have seen right now, right? So this is the syntax if condition, and this is the syntax else condition, and this is the if block, and next one is the else block, right? एग्जाम्पल वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन, दिस इज द लगेज एग्जाम्पल जो हमने इफ में देखा था. तो अगर वेट 30 से ज्यादा है सो प्रिंट हैवी लगेज, अगर नहीं है तो यू मे प्रोसीड फर्दर, अदरवाइज इन द लास्ट हेयर वी हैव प्रिंट थैंक यू, राइट? नाउ लेट्स मूव फर्दर. Next we have Elif statement. Elif statement is used to include multiple conditional expressions after the if condition or between the if and else condition. Let's see if we have more conditions. In the previous example we have seen we have only one condition, whether x is bigger or y is bigger. So one statement was in if and the other one is in else. But if we have more conditions, so that is what it is written here, that it includes multiple conditional expressions after the if or in between the if and else. Okay? So here in this example, score is being asked. So enter your score here. Student will enter the score. If the score is greater than 90, print grade A. If the otherwise, if the score is greater than 80, grade B. Otherwise, if the score is greater than 70, grade C, then 60, grade D, or the last condition, that is else, and that is grade F. So we have number of conditions here. So first condition is in if, otherwise elif, then the second elif, then the third elif, and the last one is else. So if none of the condition is true, then the cursor will automatically come to the else block, right? So we will see example also. Now let's move to the practical part. So we have checked that if x is greater than y or if y is greater than x. But what if the case is x is equals to y? We have more than one condition. So in that case we can use elif here. So writing elif. So in the first condition you have seen if x is greater than y. Correct. Now in the next condition, if y is greater than x. Okay. So we have to give the condition here. प्रीवियस केस में हमने क्या किया था, हमने सिंपली एल्स राइट कर दिया था कि अगर ऐसा नहीं है तो ऐसा हो जाएगा. बट हेयर वी हैव मोर देन वन कंडीशन, तो वी नीड टू राइट द कंडीशन. तो इन द फर्स्ट कंडीशन हमने लिखा था x इज ग्रेटर देन y. सेकेंड कंडीशन में हमें लिखना होगा y इज ग्रेटर देन x. और अगर ये दोनों ही केस नहीं है तो द लास्ट केस इज एल्स. And we are printing here that both are equal, right? Both are equal. Let's execute this. So let's say 40 and the value of y is also 40. So now it is printing both are equal. So let's execute for one more time. Let's see for elif case also, because we haven't seen for elif. So in that case we have to make y bigger. So I have made y bigger. So y is 56. So now it is printing y is bigger than x. So all the three cases are working perfectly. So we have seen if, we have seen if with else, and we have seen elif also, right? So now let's move to the next one. And the last one is the nested if statement. Nested if else statement has another if or if else in its body. Like we have one if and we want another if in the body of if. Then we are increasing the levels, and that is called nested if statement. So here the important thing is any number of statements can be nested inside one another. Indentation is the only key to figure out nesting. But you have to be very cautious in this, because अदर लैंग्वेजेस में हम लोग ब्रैकेट्स यूज करते हैं. सो अगर हम ब्रैकेट्स यूज कर रहे हैं तो इट वुड बी वेरी इजी टू फाइंड आउट एनी एरर. बट यहाँ पे हम ब्रैकेट्स यूज नहीं करते हैं. पाइथन में हमें इंडेंटेशन यूज करनी होती है. सो द ओनली की इज डोंट प्ले विद द स्पेसेस. So you have to be very particular for the level of if else you are using. Otherwise बाद में errors find करना is very difficult task, right? So let's move to the example of this. Now continue with our example that we were earlier doing, right? So here we will change this code. Now I'm using another variable here. So इसमें हमारे पास अब 3 variables होंगे. We will see कि which variable is bigger, which number is bigger. So we will see the nested if here. So enter the value of z, right? So we have used 3 variables x, y and z. Now let's move to the conditions. So सबसे पहले what we will check that if x is bigger than both y and z. x दोनों से बड़ा होना चाहिए, y से भी और z से भी बड़ा होना चाहिए. तो फर्स्ट कंडीशन हमारे पास ऑलरेडी है, if x is greater than y. नेक्स्ट हमें इसमें क्या चेक करना है? नेक्स्ट हमें इसमें चेक करना है कि क्या x z से भी बड़ा है. और अगर x is bigger than z तो we are not going to print anything here. We are just writing if x is greater than z. तो हमने यहाँ पे दोनों कंडीशंस इनकॉर्पोरेट कर दी हैं. नाउ व्हाट शुड बी आवर नेक्स्ट स्टेप? जस्ट मेक द इंडेंटेशन. आई एम रिपीटिंग अगेन, डोंट फॉरगेट द इंडेंटेशन पार्ट. तो मैंने यहाँ पे पहले टैब किया है प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट के लिए, एंड व्हाट आई एम राइटिंग x इज बिगर. सो आई एम रिमूविंग देन y here बिकॉज वी हैव नाउ टू थिंग्स y एंड z. सो यहाँ पे हमने अपनी दोनों कंडीशंस पुट कर दी हैं. इफ x इज ग्रेटर देन y या फिर if x is greater than z, दोनों ही केस में x बड़ा है तो हमने प्रिंट कर दिया x is bigger, right? Now अगर ऐसा नहीं है, if is not the case, then what will happen? In that case print z is bigger, right? In this case print z is bigger. Now see what is happening here. Now you just see here, this if and this else. This if else is the block of this first if. Just see the indentation level, right? What we have done here, if x is greater than z, print x is bigger, else print z is bigger, right? So ये हमारा x and z का comparison हो गया and ये block हमारा यहीं पे finish हो गया, right? Now let's move to this if. This if is still incomplete. हमने यहाँ पे ये तो चेक कर लिया था कि क्या x y से बड़ा है, but if it is not the case, अगर x y से बड़ा नहीं है, then what will happen here? Just remove this. So what I am doing here now, in else we don't require any of the conditions, so I am removing this. So this is but obvious that if x is not greater than y, come to this else. This will check that if y is greater than z. If yes, print y is bigger. Okay. And if not, then what will happen? Else print z is bigger. I hope this is getting clear to you. Let's execute this code. Enter the value of x. I'm using 5. Enter the value of y. I'm using 6 and then 8. Okay. So out of these three, z is bigger. Then the output is yes, z is bigger. That's working fine. Let's move to let's rerun this code. And now I'm using 56, then 25, then 12, in this case x is bigger. Yes, x is bigger. This is also working fine. Now let's check for one more time for y also. That is 65, 100 and 45. So yes, y is bigger. So all the conditions are working fine here. So this is the code. Here we have seen all the variations of if. We have seen if, simple if, we have seen if with else, we have seen elif when we have multiple conditions, and the last we have seen nested if. Nested if means we are using one other block in some if or in some else block, and this can be changed. This can be according to our requirement. It depends on your requirement of the code, right? Remember one thing, this is the base of the programming. We are starting with base of any programming language, and this if statement is very important. So till then, do practicing, keep learning Python and keep watching. Thank you all of you. See you in the next video.